Hello, good morning. We're seeing some people flooding in and joining us. Just gonna wait for a few more people to join in, but feel free to say hello, and I believe the chat is right here. Let me know where you're from, where you're joining us today. If this is your first time joining us, if you're kind of like a veteran to these webinars, would love to hear. Good morning, Taya from Canada, Terry from San Francisco, Marilyn from Houston. We're in Austin, so we're essentially neighbors. So hi, neighbor. Hello from London, nice. Oh my goodness, Estonia. All right, we have worldwide people here. Kate from New Mexico, Oklahoma. Hi, Nell from Illinois. Illinois, oh my God, I have to like say Illinois, not Illinois. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad that this is your first time, and hopefully you enjoyed this webinar. If you have joined us before, we are starting to do these webinars a little bit different. We're trying to up the production on this, so definitely making it a little bit more high def for you. So I will be live for probably the next 10 minutes, and then we'll go straight into the webinar. So sorry for the noise in the back. We have people from Leslie from Minnesota, Belgium. Oh my God, nice. We have people from Inez from Montevideo, Uruguay. Nice. We have Oklahoma City, first time. Carly, thank you for joining us. Amina from Nigeria. Oh my God, like, thank you for joining us worldwide. Like, we're a little tiny company from Austin, so seeing that we have people worldwide is amazing. Belgium, Nigeria, Brazil, Talita and Adriana from Brazil, welcome. Carmen from Milwaukee. Veronica's from Austin, hi. Yay, oh my God, we have people from Austin here. Hopefully we run into each other in Austin. So if you ever say me or anybody from our team, make sure to say hi. We'd love to meet you. Ireland, Andres, oh wow. Illinois, North Carolina, Argentina, San Antonio, hi neighbor. Veronica says, I hope so. Okay, hopefully. Carla from UAE, wow. Dallas, oh my God, we have a lot of Texas people here. Amazing, cool. So we'll wait maybe 1 or 2 more minutes for people to join us. But for those of you who are not familiar, I am Priscilla. I am the Brand Partnerships Manager here at Planoly. I do a lot of the partnerships here at the company, and on top of that, I also do all the webinars. I do a lot of teaching online and also at events. If you are in Austin, usually I teach at General Assembly and try to teach on Instagram stories, and how to blog. So if you're in Austin and you find one of those classes, make sure to come by and say hello. But yeah, today we're going to be chatting a little bit about, what are we chatting about today? Optimizing your sponsor stories with StoriesEdit. So how this is going to run now. I'm going to go ahead and run our webinar, so that includes all of our visuals and everything. And then make sure for any questions that you have, you do put them in the Q&A button right here. If you put your questions in the chat, they will get lost. I probably won't be able to answer them, so make sure that you drop them in the Q&A. I'm also, I think I can allow everybody to hop in on questions, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so if you know the answer to anybody's question, feel free to comment. I would love to start a discussion on certain questions that are going on. But yeah, feel free to drop all your questions in here. But we're going to be chatting. This is going to be very just in general about it. You can create sponsored stories, either if you're going to go ahead and boost a sponsored stories ad on Instagram, or if you're an influencer and you're creating sponsored content. So how to make it look a little bit more organic, rather than just, buy 50% off this weekend at our shop. We don't want to be sold to, so we'll be chatting about that. So if we wait 1 more minute, I'll go ahead and go on live. And then Yes, like I mentioned, just go ahead and put in your questions in the Q&A. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. Give me 1 second as I switch over.
Hi again, my name is Priscilla. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the Brand Partnerships Manager here at Planoly, and we're going to be diving into how to optimize sponsored stories using our newest app, StoriesEdit. So one thing I would definitely mention is if you haven't downloaded StoriesEdit already, please do so on the App Store or on Google Play. It is a free app, so you might want to go ahead and download it just to see how you can follow along and try to get an idea of how you can create really awesome stories edit templates and use it for your brand, or if you have an upcoming partnership with a brand coming up, you can definitely use that too. So first things first, every time I do a webinar, I hear why even spend money on sponsored stories or sponsored content because I can probably grow my brand organically. The thing is, social media and especially Instagram isn't the same as it was 5-6 years ago, and you can't really grow organically as you could have done back then. I used to work in social media. I used to be a social media manager, and the accounts that I used to manage, I was able to grow them organically, but as the algorithm was introduced, it just became so much harder to actually get that visibility back to your brand. So this is where you actually have to start investing in the visibility of your brand, be it actual sponsored content, sponsored stories, influencer marketing, whatever it may be. You do have to invest money in actually having your brand be a little bit more visible. So a few reasons as to why. According to Instagram, 58% of story viewers become more interested in a brand after watching it featured in a story. So you kind of want to pique that interest by using Instagram stories ads, or be it on the feed. So that way you can kind of introduce yourself to the audience that you're trying to target, and then have them see, okay, maybe this is a brand I want to invest in later on. I kind of saw them already on an influencer's post. Maybe is something I should invest in. And then people, this is just kind of like a rule of thumb for any type of person that's, you're trying to market to. The one thing it's like you can't expect, and this is, I definitely want to like set this straight from the beginning, because a lot of people have this misconception that if they're going to go ahead and invest in an ad, or be it on Instagram ads, Instagram stories, or within the feed, that they should see an ROI right away. That's far from the point. You will probably not see that in the first time you're running an ad. So don't come in with that mentality. If not, you'll probably be really discouraged and probably never try to do an Instagram ad again. But people usually have to be exposed to a brand or see a brand about 7 times before they actually consider purchasing or investing within a brand. So make sure that you're investing in really great ads, and diversifying your content too. So Instagram ads and Instagram stories ads is just one arm of your entire marketing strategy. So definitely think about how you can leverage those to bring more visibility back to your brand. And then, like I mentioned, Instagram stories is just another way to really show your brand to people that you're trying to target, but kind of show it in a way that actually fits in with the content that they're looking at already within their feed. So not only can they see and try to like pique that interest, but you can also use that content to educate your audience about your brand. So use that and see, like, okay, after probably running 5-6 ads, maybe you'll start seeing some ROI. And especially if you're diversifying the way that you're promoting your content and promoting your brand, you should see some success moving forward. So just a general rule of thumb, Instagram stories, like I mentioned, is just one arm of your entire marketing strategy, as is Instagram itself. So do keep in mind when you're creating content for your audience, either for your feed, for stories, or even Facebook or Twitter, whatever channel it may be, that you diversify the message with the medium. So this goes to say that you're not going to use the same Instagram ad or same story as an Instagram stories ad as you would use it for a Facebook stories ad. Make sure that you're diversifying your content, because the way that, while your audience might fall under a general umbrella, you want to make sure that you understand how your audience is actually digesting content on these different platforms, Because if they're seeing the same ad again and again and again and again on different platforms, they're just going to be like, oh, I saw this ad again. Like, how can you use different ad methods to educate your audience a little bit more about what your brand, what you have to offer, and how your product or whatever you have to offer can benefit your audience. So always keep that in mind. So with that said, we're going to dive right into what does it take to create a captivating story. So there's a few keys to keep in mind when creating a dynamic Instagram stories ads or even content in itself. But number one is that while these are ads, you shouldn't come in with like an ad mindset. So think organically. That's more for saying when you're creating content, you want it to fit in seamlessly with the content that your audience is already seeing on their feed or seeing on, their stories. So if you want to kind of like stalk your audience's following and try to see who they follow, what content they're kind of like a little bit more receptive to, then try to mold your content into that if it fits your brand, and then see what. If it's something works well, great. Go ahead and pick that up as, as a key point that this type of content works well. And if it doesn't work well, then make a note of that and know that you shouldn't probably make content like that anymore. So definitely think organically when you're creating content, because nobody likes being sold to. So next thing is come in from a consumer standpoint too, because obviously, if we're creating Instagram stories ads, we're coming in as like a marketer. But I think like even for me, the one great thing that I like pay attention to, especially when I'm on Instagram stories, is that I like to pay attention to the ads that actually resonate with me. And a really great example is this brand called Bedthreads at bed.threads had showed an Instagram stories ad on my feed. And I thought it was somebody that I followed because I love home decor and a lot of like content with like home and plants. And this was like a beautiful bedroom with like nice linen sheets. I just so happened to be in the market for linen. And so that caught my attention because I was like, oh, this is a beautiful shot. And it was very, very organic. Like it just looked like something that a blogger I would follow would post. So I went ahead and looked at their Instagram. And their feed was just as beautiful, was very, had a lifestyle element to it. And I went ahead and gave them a follow because their content was just so great. So that's kind of like, now that I know that that's kind of like the brand that really makes an impact on me, I've kind of taken those cues to what like really makes a positive impact and makes a great first impression on me, and then kind of like recreate that for the ads that I'm creating. For whatever content I'm going to go ahead and create. So keep that in mind and stay like a little bit attentive when you're looking at stories and see, oh, why did that actually like make a really great impression on me, and try to recreate that within your own content. But on the other side, pay attention to what makes you swipe next, like swipe away. You actually don't want to pay attention to it. And it's the one thing that really is going to like make your content be really great is the data. So if you are creating a terrible ad that is targeted to the completely wrong market, not only are they gonna like not pay attention to it, but they actually have a way to just like, Instagram, show me less of this content. I don't know why this content is being shown to me. So make sure that you're not putting a negative impression on the audience that you're targeting. So that way you can make sure that you're not wasting money, because of course with all these ads you're actually spending budget, you're actually allocating money to this content that you want eyeballs on. And if it's just like somebody's just has a negative reception, just swipes away, you're wasting money. So go ahead and keep in mind like what like makes me like not like that, and write that down and make sure that you actually don't create that within your content. And then next, the one thing you really want to make sure is that your ad isn't just, 50% off this weekend, swipe up to learn more. Like I mentioned earlier, nobody likes being sold to. So the one thing that's really going to captivate your audience with whatever stories that you're creating is the actual storytelling that you're putting into it. A great example is, and I wish I had it here, but a great example is Parachute. All of their content and is all tied to storytelling. And it's what makes these brands like Parachute, Casper, any of these like, up and coming brands that have been very notable through social media. The reason why they've been so successful is because of the story that's tied to them, and the story that actually, people feel that resonates with them. Because when you think of Casper, you think of the brand, you think of like, oh, I want to be, that brand resonates with me. As to Mattress Firm, I don't think there is like a story behind it. So you want to make sure that, you tie in that element that actually helps people feel a little bit more attached to your brand, and that goes in with storytelling. So for example, Parachute, they had a story set that I saw on my Instagram feed the other day, and it was a 3 carousel stories ad. And the first one was a picture of a bedroom, beautifully shot, and it just had text, very subtle logo, Parachute, and then it said from a very soft landing to right to your bed. The best part of being like coming back home is being right in bed. And it was a shot of the linen and the bed, and it was all beautifully shot. It was very simple, and it was just like, oh, like, Parachute, you think, oh, it's just linens, how to make your home very pretty, but it's actually like, oh, you actually feel a little bit more enticed to come back home after a long trip because you have these Parachute, linen sheets that are just like so comfortable, and they're beautiful, and you feel attached to that brand. So it kind of, think of like the storyline that you're trying to tell your audience within these story sets, be it one story or a video, or if it's a 3-story carousel. Try to see how you can actually practice good storytelling with the content that you're creating. And then, of course, is the message, brand, product, and call to action clear? So you have to make sure that all this is clear, because if you don't, then essentially you're just wasting your money on any stories ads that you're creating. So don't waste any money on content that doesn't send a clear message. If, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the Facebook Ads Manager actually requires you to have a CTA. So think of how your story actually ties into that CTA, because if it's disconnected, then people aren't really going to know what to do. So make sure that the call to action is very, very clear, and think of how your content and your story ties into that. Next, what is your goal with sponsored content ads? So this is kind of like, very standard marketing 101 I'm sure everybody pretty much knows, but your goal is going to drive the message at the end of the day. So with these story sets that you're creating, are you trying to drive news or awareness to your brand? Are you trying to drive interest? Are you trying to drive consideration? Are you trying to drive conversions? Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to drive follows? Whatever it may be clear of what that goal is. And then once you create what that goal is going to be, then you're going to know, okay, we need to create a story set or a stories ad that's just going to help us walk through this, and help us meet our goals. And if it doesn't help meet your goals, then look back and see, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't it? How can we look back at our content and see how we can actually make these goals be met if we're creating the right content for it? So always know that your goals will always drive your message. And it's a very fine balance with, creating a message that helps drive your goals, but also making it sound very organic that actually fits the content that your audience is already seeing. So try to keep that in mind when you're creating your content. So the key is you want to create disruptive content that piques your audience's interest, but you don't want to create any negative disruption in the content that your audience is already seeing. So you want to in disruptive, not in a way that is just completely stays out of whatever they're looking at, or disruptive where it actually causes any negative reactions, but disruptive in a way that is just piquing their interest, makes them stop and pay attention, rather than just, oh, this is something else that I've been already seeing. But you want to make it stand out so it actually breaks through the noise, rather than just falling within this echo of whatever they're already following. And an example of causing negative disruption, here in Austin, there's a billboard downtown that says, "Hello, San Antonio." And in the bottom, it says bad data will definitely hurt you. And I can't remember what the brand is, but it's a very good example of, if you're not using the right data, or if you're showing an ad that just completely throws people off, like, why would I even see that? Why would they even create that? Why is this even being targeted to me? People are just going to immediately have a negative perception of your brand. So make sure that you're actually having a great first impression and putting an amazing first impression that actually lets your audience feel very impressed by what they're seeing and makes them want to swipe up to learn a little bit more about you. So now we'll go right into like the few basics of creating an Instagram stories ad. So one thing that you want to make sure when you're going ahead and creating your stories ad is that you go to the Facebook Ads Manager. Of course, you can go ahead and boost content through Instagram, through the Instagram app. You can go ahead and boost content that's you've already posted. But my rule of thumb is to just go ahead and use the Ads Manager. This will be like guide you through all the details and let you really think about like how you are actually going to target people, the content that you're going to create, and let you walk through it immediately so you can actually see what your goals are going to be and everything. So once you actually walk through it, you'll be able to select your goals, be it if it's your reach, brand awareness, video views, conversions. And then from there, you'll actually go to select what your audience is going to be. So selecting the interest, the age range, the demographics, all of that. Then when you're selecting your actual placements, Instagram stories will actually be selected already, and then all the other stories placements can be selected as well. But I would say that for whatever story that you're creating, you're going ahead and just selecting Instagram stories. Then from there, you'll use the rest of the steps to actually upload your content. You can go ahead and select either one story, a video, or a carousel set. And then from there, you can go ahead and add the link for what you want people to drive to. And then, of course, the call to action. And then from there, you just upload and wait for Facebook to approve it. You do have to go through an approval process. So that way, you're actually abiding by the guidelines that Facebook has set for you, being Facebook is the parent company of Instagram. So you do have to abide by the guidelines. So make sure that you're actually reading the guidelines ahead of time before you're actually creating a story set, so that way you're not wasting your time. So it is really, really easy. And the great thing too is that we already create within StoriesEdit, all of the dimensions are already set for whatever you want to upload to the ads manager. So you don't have to trim anything. The one thing I will say ahead of time is that you do have to have whatever video, 15 seconds of a video set for whatever you're going to be uploading to StoriesEdit, and then you can edit from there. We currently don't have the capabilities to trim a long video, so make sure that you already have whatever 15 seconds you want to upload to StoriesEdit. And then from there, you're good to go. So just a few basic requirements when you're creating Instagram stories ads. Number one, you have to have an Instagram business or creator account. And I know I always get this question. I don't want to switch over to a business account. I don't want to switch over to a creator account because my engagement is going to go low. I did a webinar 2 months ago on debunking Instagram myths, and that is a myth. So if you do switch over to a business account or an Instagram account, your engagement should not be affected as long as you're still creating amazing content, as long as you're still engaging with your audience. Don't feel that because you're already creating, posting on Planoly and doing auto posts that it dismisses you from engaging. Always stay engaging with your audience. So always keep that in mind. Next, for one ad, it can either be a still image or a video that's 15 seconds long. And then you can also do ad carousels. So for ad carousels, you can either share 2 to 3 stories within a carousel, and this will be shown as a stories ad for your audience as they're scrolling or watching through all their stories. I personally like this the best because it really allows you a little bit more freedom to go with, creating actual storytelling within these stories. And especially it gives you a little bit more flexibility with still images and video if you want to go ahead and try that, but you can definitely use ad carousels. And then, like I mentioned earlier, StoriesEdit templates already have the stories dimensions, be it for still photos or videos, so you don't have to do any editing after that when you want to go ahead and upload to the ads manager. And then, of course, you must have a call to action set. So whenever you're on the ads manager, Facebook already has this as a requirement, but I want everybody, like ahead of time, whenever you're creating your stories, to have in mind what call to action is going to be. And of course, the call to action is based on whatever the goals that you've set that's going to help drive that message. So from whatever goals you've set, create that message and then go ahead and create that call to action. Next, creating Instagram stories ads that captivate. So with StoriesEdit, it's fairly probably too easy to use. But we have tons of amazing templates that you can go ahead and use. Our newest one being the Ashley Robertson collection that we launched last month. And we have tons of new collections coming up, so stay tuned for that. But you can just go ahead and go to the featured homepage of the StoriesEdit app. You can select anything from, be it, our Row collection or film collection, our essentials. The film and essentials collection are my favorites. But you can also see based on categories. So if you're looking for something that's based on text only or just images or something with images and text, we'll categorize all of that for you to look over. So just go ahead and select a template. And then you can customize your stories with our 3 editing tools. So we do have the text, the shapes, and the background color tools, respectively, on the bottom of the app. And when you're using the colors tool, you can actually put in the hex codes for the colors that fit your brand. So you don't have to oh, this is like this shade of green. It's very specific to whatever branded colors that you want. And you just go ahead and set them on there. And then from there, you can, even add any text, of course, including the call to action. And if you're an influencer, I would definitely recommend here you put hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored somewhere within the stories. That's very clear for your audience to see because that is FTC regulations. So if you're doing any sponsored content on stories, just go ahead and just put the sponsored on there so people can see it loud and clear. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and save your designs to your phone, post directly to Instagram if you want to. But my rule of thumb, just go ahead and save it to your phone and then transfer it to your computer so that way you can go ahead and upload it through the Facebook Ads Manager. So it's not simply creating a graphic on StoriesEdit and thinking that it looks beautiful and that it's all set and that you're good to go and just let it run. You have to make sure that you craft your graphic and message with an organic mindset that's aimed to reach your goals while visually captivating your audience. So I know it's a lot to keep, try to keep in mind when you're creating one little story, but this is actually what's going to help you drive a little bit more conversions and meet your goals for whatever you want. And, have your story stand out in all the noise that is just so much ads that we're constantly being feeded to. You want to make sure that your content actually stands out. So here are a few examples of how we can use, or you can use our StoriesEdit templates. These are 3 beautiful templates that you can, just use anytime. So these are some that we went ahead and created ourselves, but you can go ahead and use them with whatever colors, whatever images you'd like. So the first one is from our film collection, and it is template 3. And you can actually use an image in the back and an image in the front as within the film collection and just edit the colors. And I think this is where, we provide the templates, but also think about how you're actually shooting content ahead of time and making sure that it actually stays on brand. If you notice, this is Adriana, our influencer relations and Pinterest lead, who led our webinar last month too. And she always shoots beautiful content, but it's so detailed and so simple, and just it's just a very simple way that really shows you how you can get creative with our StoriesEdit templates. And so you don't have to feel oh, I just have to use 2 photos and probably some text here. Think outside of the box. StoriesEdit is for you to play with and just, go crazy. but don't go too crazy where it looks like mumbo jumbo. Like, make sure that it actually looks very cohesive, on brand, and just get creative. Like, that's why we have these shapes tools for you. We have these text tools for you. Just feel free to get creative. The next one is from our Essentials collection, and that's template 14. And this one was made different because of the colors that we used. Obviously, the colors that are preset on the templates are a little bit different, but we also go in ahead and used the shape tool, which is a border tool, and just created an outline for the photo, added some text, spread out the kerning of the fonts, and just added a little bit of text in the bottom to let people know a little bit more about what they could expect if they were to swipe up on the content. And of course, being that this was a sponsored ad, we went ahead and put #ad, so that way, and you don't have to put it in like a placement there. You can put it somewhere else within the frame, so that way people can still see it, but it's not like, overpowering your shot. And then next, this is from our core collection, template number 3. And this one was made different by just a different use of colors. You can definitely change the colors for different borders and parts of the actual template. Of course, the imagery is definitely going to make a difference. So the way that you shoot something and how it combines with the colors of the template is definitely going to make that look come a little bit more cohesive. So think of that. And if this were, like for me, I would probably make this a stories carousel. So if you're a brand that's selling bags, like show the bags that are most relevant to feeling summer ready, and then showcase them in a lifestyle way. So that way people are like, oh, that's a beautiful shot. Like, I love that shot, but I also like the bag. So one thing when you're shooting, and I think this is like very important, and one thing that's very really shown through all of these templates, is that they're all lifestyle shots. You want to kind of show the lifestyle, the brand, the ethos behind your brand, rather than just showing like a product shot behind like a white space. That is so boring. That is very ad based. So make sure that you're making it interesting for people to want to look at and feel inspired by. And that's eventually what's going to help you reach your goals and feel like make people feel a little bit more resonating with your brand, and have that, disruptive effect that actually makes a positive impact on them and makes your brand look good, and hopefully grows your following. So with that said, we'll dive right into the Q&A, and let us switch on over and we'll do the live Q&A.
Hi again, everyone. So hopefully this new format, we started doing it last month with pre-recorded webinars, just to make it a little bit more visually stunning for you guys. But of course, I will be answering any of the questions that you guys have throughout the webinar. We do have a few, so I'll go ahead and dive right in. And of course, if you do have any questions as I'm talking through, any questions at all, just go ahead and drop them into the Q&A right here. But I did see one question from Amina on the chat, so I'll just go to that one really quick. As she said, do you guys help run Instagram accounts to grow the account and also ads, as you're talking about? So we don't do social media management. We provide you with the tools to help you run your social media. So with anything that you plan on Planoly, with anything that you create on StoriesEdit, those are tools that you can go use for planning out your content, scheduling your content on Planoly. And then on StoriesEdit, any of the content that you want to create for stories and upload, either just organic content that you want to showcase, or if you want to go ahead and create it as an ad, that's up to you. You just go ahead and we just give you the tools for you to do that. So we don't help you run accounts. We don't help grow. Obviously, we do give you the tools with these webinars, our blog. We try to teach you a lot of ways and strategies for you to actually help grow your accounts, but we don't actually manage that. I think you're probably thinking of maybe like a social media agency that helps run accounts for you and helps you grow. That would be like a social media agency. And there's many people that do this freelance, or there's actually agencies, even boutique agencies, that help to do this for you. So I would look into that. And those agencies and even freelancers use Planoly to help run your social media, to help grow. So you would need a strategist, somebody that's a little bit more hands-on, that you're hiring to actually do that, we just provide you with the tool. So I hope that clears that up. Going right into the Q&A. So we have a question from anonymous attendee. So for our sponsored Instagram stories, we have to go to the Facebook Ads Manager. Yes. Obviously for sponsored content within your grid, if you do have a business account or a creator account, Instagram does allow you to choose whether you want to go ahead and boost a post if it's performing well. Like you'll probably get a notification, this post is performing so well, you should go ahead and promote it, add some, add dollars behind it, and just go ahead and boost your post so that it actually gets more impressions and it's targeted to more people that are like aiming towards your demographic. But for anything Instagram ads, that you would need to do within the Facebook Ads Manager. Only reason is because you actually select you're able to upload the content, you're able to select what channels you want everything on, it's so much more tailored to actually targeting the people that you want. I prefer to use the Facebook Ads Manager because you can actually see whether your target that you're tailoring is much more focused, and it'll have like a meter that'll tell you whether it is a good selection of demographic that you're looking for. And then from there you can select the timeline. The video showed everything, and I would definitely recommend going to a Facebook Blueprint. A Facebook Blueprint is a full set of courses and classes free from Facebook that show you how to do everything. And you can actually get certified from Facebook Blueprint on how to, learning everything from how to create a Facebook ad to Facebook stories ad, an Instagram ad, Instagram stories ad, everything you need to know and how to run your business. Facebook Blueprint is the best thing that you can do. Of course, we would recommend definitely joining for our webinars just so you can stay up to date on how to use Planoly with Instagram and even Facebook auto post. But definitely I recommend go ahead and use Facebook Blueprint, so that way you can get very well versed into actually how to create Instagram stories ads and even beyond that. So you know how to run your business on social when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. So yes, you do have to use Facebook Ads Manager. Okay, Zeke, can I take a screenshot of template number 3? I will share that really quick. Let me share my screen really quick. I wish I could like share like an image, but here's the templates for you guys to screenshot. If you want to go ahead and screenshot them, feel free. And of course, definitely follow us on @StoriesEdit on Instagram. We give so many ways for you to actually, get a little bit creative on how to. All right, Zeke, you got it. Okay, I'm gonna stop the share. But we give you many ways on how to like go outside of the box with the templates that we create for you. Obviously, when you go on the StoriesEdit app, it's a little bit like the templates are very basic. Like you can use that template as it's already done. Like we've already designed them with the Planoly brand in mind, but of course they're completely 100% customizable for whatever elements you want, for whatever colors you want. So get creative, use them however you like, and yeah, go ahead and feel free to use them and share them with us. If you do use them and you upload them on stories, go ahead and tag us @StoriesEdit and @Planoly so we can go ahead and look at them and probably share them too. So cool. So Marilyn, what app did you tell us to download? StoriesEdit. So that is our newest app that is tied in with Planoly. It is a separate app and it allows you to download, to create beautiful stories, templates. You can go ahead and use them just for your general use of making stories a little bit more impactful, but you can definitely use them for the use of like promoting your brand through stories ads. You want to make it a little bit more captivating, especially if you're going to be adding a little bit more, adding money to those stories. So make it well worth your money and make it more visually captivating. So using StoriesEdit will definitely help you get there. So hope that helps. Is there Is there a way to get the video of this webinar later? Yes. So this webinar will be uploaded to our YouTube channel on Friday. For everybody who joined live, you will be getting a replay tomorrow, I believe, but this will be on our YouTube channel on Friday and if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see any of our past webinars that we've done since January. So go ahead and check those out. There's a few webinars on StoriesEdit on how to use it a little bit more in depth, but definitely go to our YouTube channel. Is youtube.com/Planoly, and you will see our webinar playlist there and learn a lot more than these past 30 minutes. So, have you had experience creating ads for alternative market like cannabis and CBD wellness? So, like I mentioned earlier, you do have to read Facebook's guidelines and terms for any content that can be promoted. So when it comes to promoting cannabis and CBD, unfortunately, it is not something that Facebook allows, so you cannot promote anything. I think the one way that you can go around it is if you're promoting something like a post that doesn't have anything. I haven't tried it myself because we're not a CBD or cannabis brand, but I would definitely go ahead and try promoting a photo or a story that doesn't showcase any CBD or cannabis or has a product in there. Is more maybe trying out the lifestyle. Of course, it's not like you're going to lose any money by actually trying to create that ad because Facebook does have to approve it. So if it gets approved, amazing, you're in the clear. But if not, you are not losing out on anything. So it's definitely like an A/B testing, see if it works. If not, sorry, I don't know why. Okay, sorry, I thought it wasn't recording for this answer. But yes, unfortunately, you can't promote CBD and cannabis, but try alternate ways of actually showing like some type of like lifestyle behind it that doesn't show the products or cannabis. So I hope that helps. And if it works for you, let us know. Okay. Okay. I've looked on the app in the App Store. I can find Planoly, Planner, and IG, but not Stories. So it is all one word, StoriesEdit. It is, I believe, is the title of this webinar. It's in the title of this webinar, but it's all StoriesEdit, one word. You should be able to find it. It is on iOS and Android. So hope that helps, Theo. Okay. So Riza asked, does StoriesEdit have presets? The color code we choose, like brand colors, lock in so you can easily reuse them. Currently, we do not, unfortunately, but it is coming up. So don't worry, this is something that a lot of people have asked us about. So this will be a feature that will be coming very, very soon. We understand that, you as a brand have your colors set, and you should probably always go to them, given that how much you use them. So this will be a feature that will be coming soon. So stay tuned. Okay. Michelle Correa, should we post stories daily? What is the recommendation? So yes, I would say post stories daily if you can, if not every other day. There's a lot of brands out there that essentially sometimes they'll do stories every 3 days, but they're kind of like set where they're actually doing stories as a content series. So it's a little bit more produced, something that they have to plan out ahead of time. But I think even between stuff like that, there's tons of ways for you to share and, amplify your audience. So you're actually generating a little bit more user-generated content and actually encourages your audience to create more content for your brand and amplify your brand. So definitely, I would say try to post stories daily, maybe like 4 to 5 a day if you can. Don't go over 8. I think that's just like a little bit overboard. And there's some brands that go like 20, and the drop off on that, like after 10, the drop off starts going down like significantly. So try to keep it like a little bit minimal, like 7, 8, 9. I think is like a great number. So also we have you have just think. Us on social media, we have low attention spans, so we just want digest our content in the fastest way possible and the shortest way possible. So keep that in mind when you're creating content for your audience. So All right. And one almost last, two more questions. Sorry. Ba, 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 ba. Where do you go in a Facebook Ads Manager to create an ad on Instagram again? So if you go to business.instagram.com, I will send the links to where you can do all of this, but you would go to your Facebook Ads Manager, and when you're creating stories, I'll resend the video that I sent earlier. I can't remember exactly where you have to go. I can't remember right now, but I'll send the links and everything, and business.instagram.com like just gives you a breakdown of everything you need to do, like your guidelines and how to do everything. So I'll go ahead and send that. So hopefully there's no confusion, because I don't want to give you the wrong answer right now. I just can't remember the top of my head, but yes, it would be the Facebook Ads Manager. And when you're creating stories, it'll actually, so when you're creating a promotion, actually, it'll tell you what you want to select. So it'll start off with, your goals. And then it'll tell you create your audience and in what platforms you actually want to create your content. You want promote your content. So it would select like Facebook stories ads, Instagram stories ads, Instagram ad, Facebook ad. You select everything. But for, like I mentioned earlier within the webinar, you actually just want to select one piece of whatever piece of content that you're creating within StoriesEdit. You want it to be specific to Instagram stories or Facebook stories, because the way that people consume content on both of those platforms is very different. So you want to create content that's specific to both of them. Of course, you can use StoriesEdit for a Facebook stories ad, but make sure that you're tailoring the message to the platform. So hope that helps. Okay, and last question, is there a desktop version of StoriesEdit? Yes, so you can go to Planoly within the Planoly dashboard. Actually, yes, you would go to the Planoly dashboard, and within the Planoly dashboard, you will see the stories bar, and if you tap the S, you will get directed to StoriesEdit on a desktop. So it is available on desktop for you to use, so you don't have to use your phone all the time. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, if there's any more questions, make sure to follow us at Planoly on Instagram. My handle is at Code of Conduct with all Ks on Instagram too. So if you want to DM me and ask me any questions, feel free. We're also at StoriesEdit on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there for any tips on how to create beautiful stories. But with that said, we'll see you guys next month. We are having our webinars every Tuesday of every last Tuesday of every month. So we'll see you guys next month. We'll send the invite and everything. So make sure to follow us on Instagram to be once that announcement drops. But yeah, with that said, we'll see you guys next month. Thanks so much for joining. And let me put up, I always forget to put up my, okay, there we go. Not sure why it's not working. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm just trying to put up my email so you guys can see it. Oh, why is it being so hard today? Okay. All right. So feel free to just email me there as well. And with that said, I'll see you guys next month. Thanks, everyone.